Welcome back to our Friday night live show. And look who I have here. I'm not alone because I am in Tennessee, meet Stock with Laura, Melanie, Raymond. We're hanging out here in our cabin, and I'm going to flip around the camera soon so you guys can see our awesome view. But welcome to the Friday night show. Let us know where you all are hopping on from in the chat and in the comments, please. Today's video and theme is all about top mistakes that we have seen and we have experienced ourselves as experienced carnivores. So I'm going to go first and I'm going to give the mic off to each of my guests here. My biggest mistake that I made and that I see happen every single day is eating rendered fat. What is rendered fat? Melted, hot, liquidy, cooked fat equals rendered fat. And this could be when you're cooking ground beef and that golden ooey oozed fat coming out of your meat. It's liquid. Drinking that down equals nausea, diarrhea, bad digestion, bloat even. And so the number one adaptation symptom that most people just can't get used to is diarrhea. So let's raise our hands. Who here struggled with diarrhea when they first went carnivore? Yeah. Okay. Raymond, Melanie, Laura, I'm guessing you didn't. Okay. Constipation then? No,
kind of just normal. Wow.
Awesome. So you were a very smooth adaptation experience. But for those who do have diarrhea, maybe some indigestion, I recommend avoiding all rendered fat. I learned this the hard way. And especially being a vegan of 6 years, jumping straight into a carnivore diet, I had extremely loose stools for quite a long time. Some of those disturbed my everyday life and routine because I would have to literally run out of my class when I was studying my master's degree and run to the bathroom because I felt like I was about to have loose stools. You could avoid all that when you just eat cold, solid fats. Okay. So if you still want to be a high fat carnivore, no problem. Avoid the rendered fat and replace it with cold butter, raw beef fat, anything that is cold and solid works. Okay. That's mine. I'm going to pass it off to Melanie next.
Hi guys, how's it going? So my biggest issue was not following the process. And my coach right here behind me and my good friend Laura would tell me also that in the beginning, I just struggled with trusting the process. I didn't think I was losing weight. I just didn't think it was going to work, but I stuck with it. I hired Raymond as my coach, and now I'm 3.5 years carnivore, but the best thing I could do is just to trust the process because it does work. And here I am 3.5 years later, still full carnivore and feeling great. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Ladies first, so we'll have Laura go next.
Hi, everyone from lovely Tennessee. My biggest mistake was not priming long enough. I had been ketovore for about 6 months before switching to carnivore with SBG. And so I kind of had this mindset that I didn't need to prime as long as maybe Raymond was telling me I needed to. So I stopped too soon. I kind of ran into issues with the fasting schedule. And at least 2 or 3 times I had to return to about a 5-day mini prime and then pick up the calendar and continue on before I was successful going through the 90 days. So definitely, as I would tell Melanie, because we're OGs together, we came in at the same time.
Yep.
And we became kind of buddies on the forum, and I would send encouraging messages, and I'd always be telling her to trust the process.
Yes.
That I was, I was not feeling some of the things she was feeling, so trust the process. And so anyway, so I myself, in a way, had to trust the process as well. And if I was struggling with the fasting, then I needed to return to the priming, and I did it at least 3 times. So
Amazing.
trust the process.
Yes.
Exactly.
I love these ladies so much. And I just want to show off just how great they look in person. I have seen them age backwards. Like they have been looking younger and younger, healthier and healthier, more and more vibrant. Melanie, what is your age?
I'm going to be 59 next month.
Wow. Amazing. And then Laura, what's your age?
70.
Yeah, girl.
Woo.
Wow.
That's
Rocking
amazing.
it, girl.
Guys, it works.
Bella looks 21.
Yeah, exactly. Bella looks amazing.
I'm 28, but thank you guys. And then let's hand it off to Raymond. What's the biggest mistake for you?
First of all, I want to say, aren't I lucky to be around these beautiful carnivore ladies? You know how rare that is. Oh my God, that's so awesome. Anyways, My biggest mistake probably is listening to, I don't want to say it wrong, but listening or getting with peer pressure from my doctor, my friends, telling me that they were so worried about me. And actually I caved. I caved mostly because of my doctors, because, you know, I thought they knew. I really thought they knew. And I would have been right now 8.5 year carnivore if it wasn't for them. I lost a year out of that, but I didn't trust myself. I actually said, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not feeling as good as I think I'm feeling. And I should have just went with how I'm feeling, not the blood work that they were trying to prove to me that was wrong. Not my calcium score that was telling me that I was going to die, and just trusted how I felt. But anyways, that was definitely a biggest mistake because I felt like I lost a little bit of time on that. But
Yeah, go ahead.
no, it's a learning opportunity.
What's your age, Raymond?
I am 53.
Yeah, you look
So.
incredible. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
All of us. He says my face went, ooh, when she said she was 70. Wow.
Yeah, can we let's actually feature some of these community comments here. Agreed with Robin. OMG, you're 70. Holy moly, beautiful. Yep. And then let's see this one. Oh, I saw this one. Lucky Fire says Laura looks like she could bench press me. This is amazing. Show this. Look at that, guys. Oh my god.
Maybe bench press.
So good. So good. Now we've got
Thank you.
Yes. We've got two more phenomenal guests here. I want to bring on my next one, Todd at the Carnivore Cure, and I'm going to do this. Okay. Todd, introduce yourself. What's your biggest mistake?
Howdy, howdy. Yeah, Todd Bockness at the Carnivore Cure. And my biggest mistake was under eating to lose weight, dragging in the calorie restricted mindset that didn't work for 26 years. For some reason, I still drug it into carnivore when I hit a stall. And that put me behind about 9 months actually on carnivore, because it just, maybe even longer, because it did so much damage to my metabolism. But it was a blessing in disguise, because that's how I found SBG and priming, and now here we are, 322 pounds down later. So
Yeah.
Say that again. How many pounds down?
322. Yeah,
Wow.
and not paying attention to calories. That was the secret sauce for sure.
Amazing. Amazing. Yep. And now let's bring on our last and final guest, Dr. Phil Smith, a retired MD. Welcome, Phil. What's the biggest mistake for you?
Well, first off, no one ever calls me beautiful. So
We already told you were.
You're beautiful.
so I'm 68. And my biggest mistake really is a little longer story. I'm 68. I retired in 2019 and really got rid of all social media. So I wasn't exposed to carnivore or anything. I really didn't watch YouTube. And found out I had metabolic syndrome in 2023. And so I went to YouTube to find information on ketogenic diets. And after a couple of weeks of listening to all the nonsense in that community, I found this weird carnivore community, YouTube, and it fascinated me. It was Carrie Mann and Homestead Howe and Sean White, and they were talking about it and talking about Dr. Ken Berry. So I went down the rabbit hole, and I avoided Bella. I just thought she was some teenager who was trying to show off her bikini bod. So I went to all the doctors, Chafee, Berry, Baker, Kiltz, and did a deep dive. And it's like, this is incredible. I have a master's in physiology, and it's just blew my mind. And so I dove in, and after 3 months, I joined Steak and Butter Gal based on Todd talking about priming, and I was very curious about it. And I realized my biggest mistake was not being in community, because
Absolutely.
I was doing life by myself with my wife. I wasn't paying attention what was going on, never heard of carnivore. And when I joined the community in October of 23, I had planned to just stay 120 days, and then I was out of here. And Bella asked me to stick around. I guess probably because of my dad jokes. And I have stuck around, and I have just loved the carnivore community, and it's just
Yeah.
so honored with all the really cool people I've met. And I look forward to meeting so many of you at the next meetup in Montana, which I'll have the privilege of being at. So
Yes.
I've been in Steak and Butter Gang for a year and a half. Never, Raymond's the only one I've met in person of all the people on the screen. So
Yeah.
you can do this, but community is very, very helpful, and virtual community is just as successful as being there in person. But
Yes.
being there in person in Montana is going to be even more special because this will be Bella's charter first time SBG meetup, and you don't want to miss it. And Todd is putting on the biggest fireworks display in the state of Montana.
Nice.
So
Yes.
please join us.
Thank you for that, Phil. So this is a perfect time to show off our little banner here on screen. Just take a look there. SBG.events, if you guys want to secure your spot and ticket. We have different tiers and different types of experiences, but we've got Dr. Wiedemann on the lineup as well. We'll add her face to the graphics soon. We have Dr. Baker, Chafee, L, Homestead Howe, Todd, the entire SBG team, Dr. Kiltz. And I'm going to work on adding even more of your favorite speakers as well. Shout out to Todd for having it in his hometown and for having these fireworks, be displayed. Anything you want to add, Todd?
Well, if you've never been to Montana, it's a fun tourist place for sure, and make some, if it was me coming in, I'd make some plans to go see Yellowstone, because right where we're in Bozeman, you're only 80 miles from Yellowstone. I took Bella and Max there last year when they came to the fireworks display, and yeah, it's just a beautiful town, and really nice backdrop of the Bridgers, and you're just so close to all the fun stuff that Montana has to offer. So look around, spend some time, and I think you'll like the place. And if you're a fan of the movie Yellowstone, that's where one of the places that it's filmed at in Montana. It's about our valley. So
amazing. All right. So I think we have some questions already lining up, but I want to just quickly share how to submit your questions for our live stream today. As you can see, we've got some incredible guests helping to answer your questions tonight. How to submit: start with a capital Q, please, triple capital Qs, or just one, so it really stands out and we can save those as questions. And then go ahead and type your question, and we will do as many as we can in the next 45 minutes or so. So I'm going to put up our very first one. Super chats are, I must have missed it, Todd, so you can put super chats after this one. Okay.
Oh.
Caleb says hi. Perfect. Not a question, but hello, Caleb. Thank you for
Hello.
joining us.
Glad you're here.
My face when Laura said she's 70. Wow, youthful. All of us are like that. Trust me. Yep. And then Vincenzo, thank you for the recipes. The variety placebo helps a lot. I'm so happy to hear that. That's exactly why I do more of these more creative recipes. Therefore, Max, Steak and Butter Guy, my husband, but it looks like you guys love it too. So thank you. It's linked down below.
What's variety placebo?
So you feel like you're having basically not just carnivore foods, because you can have pancakes, you can have cake, you can have, like, I don't know, whatever you want. I pretty much have a recipe now. You can have chocolate, So I have a whole playlist of these really creative recipes you guys can enjoy.
Variety placebo.
Variety placebo. I love that too. All right. Powered by Joy wants to know what priming is, and we actually have the creator right here, Raymond. So why don't you explain?
Well, priming is simple. So it's really actually, what I can say is a lot of people do the carnivore diet for losing weight, so they end up under eating a lot. So priming is made to make sure you are doing the carnivore diet and the carnivore diet is nourishing you. It's like you had all this time of malnourishment and you just come in and it's time to actually re-nourish. It's a good idea to do every now and then. So how do we do that? It's very simple. We eat 3 meals a day till comfortably stuffed, having coffee or anything other than water as a dessert. And that you do it for up to, if you can handle it, you need to do it for 2 weeks. That will get you back to the point where you feel, to the point where your body's like, okay, I feel safe, I feel happy at this point, and I just don't want to eat that 3rd meal. Then you know that your body, your hormones are all responding to you. You're getting more of a gut to brain connection. And then we go through that last phase of priming where we do 2 MADs for 3 weeks, and then we test it down the line. So, and all of these we talk about in detail in the Steak and Butter Gang. But I don't want to bore you guys, but that's the best way to actually get yourself to feel primed enough, whether you fast or whether you just stay 2 meals from there. Yeah. It doesn't matter. So, but give yourself a chance to nourish yourself properly.
I love that. Thank you, Coach Raymond. All three of us ladies have experienced the power of priming. How did priming affect your journey?
Oh gosh, I really struggled at first because not only did I start coaching with Raymond, but then I got COVID and I had to stop priming because I just could not eat any meat at all. So I said, okay, let's just take a break and we'll start, in a couple of months. So I went back to it. And then once I went back, I was fine. But I definitely noticed a difference when I knew my body was primed. I knew I was fat adapted because I could not get that third meal in. I just could not do it. And Raymond kept saying, are you sure? Are you sure? I'm like, no, I'm sure, Raymond. I cannot eat any more meat. So, but it was really good. And now even I will do like 3-day mini primes when I feel like I need more food that I'm not getting or I'm under eating, which is common for me because I do tend to undereat. But so I'll do like a 3-day priming and then I'll go back to a 2 MAD and then maybe an OMAD.
Fantastic. Laura, how did priming affect you?
Well, priming shut off the food noise that I was suffering from, that I had gotten myself into. Sugar cravings, excessive sugar cravings, something that I had never had in my life until I started having some keto treats when I was doing Carnivore. Excuse me. And they were treats made with the non-glycemic sugar substitutes that were supposed to be so much better for us. And instead turned on that center in my brain that said, give me more, 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 more. So priming was what got me out of that. And I really, within 3 days of starting priming, the food noise was gone and has never come back. And I'm 3.5 years in. But I did mention that I didn't prime long enough within the calendar. So I was kind of like, oh, I don't need 2 weeks or more of this. I'm just going to stop early. And that's where I made the mistake that I wanted to share also. So definitely you want to nourish yourself. And let's face it, most women and some men are notorious undereaters, but women especially. Yes. We've been told not to eat this much. We've been told to avoid fat. Yep. So we are, I think, the biggest issue with that. And now we're being told to stuff ourselves. So it's just kind of contrary to what we've been walking around listening to our entire life. So that's why I say trusting the process also is so big. And anyway, but enough of that.
Beautifully said. So good. And I had to prime for 6 months. So I'll just say that. That's usually when I say that, it lights up something in a lot of new carnivores where they start thinking about, well, maybe I am under eating. If Bella had to prime for 6 months, I brought my period back by priming with a high fat carnivore diet. And it's all thanks to Raymond giving me that permission to embrace my appetite. And sometimes you need someone to give you that permission to tell you it's going to be okay and to give you that green light. So we are here.
When you were suffering a butter shortage in the grocery store.
That was because of her. That's right.
I think we did great on that one. So let's keep going. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. I'm so afraid of adding weight through priming. Who here? Raise your hand if you gain weight through priming. Looks like we all did. Okay. And raise your hand if all that added weight went away. Exactly. Exactly. 2 hands. Yeah. So hopefully that gives you some confidence, Michelle, if you gain weight. And not everybody does, but if you do gain weight, it will go away as long as you continue to go carnivore or stick to carnivore. Even better if you can just stick to Raymond's plan. And that's why Raymond has classes every single week, both priming and his fasting classes, to help you get to that stage where you love your body. You're at your goal weight. You feel incredible. You're healed. It's possible.
Can I say something?
Yes,
regarding
please.
That? So regarding that, I did gain weight. And that was one of the issues that really was hurting me to trust the process. But what I did do that Raymond encouraged me to do was to take photos every 2 weeks. even though I was gaining weight, I could see that my body was changing. So even though you're gaining weight, your inches and your body's changing. So I would encourage anybody that if you're feeling like it's not working, take the photos every 2 weeks, put them side by side and see what's happening, and then just trust the process because it does work. I lost 40 pounds in the first 6 months.
Wow, that's incredible. And how many pounds have you lost, Laura?
Mine was about 35 total, and I put on about 5 to 7 pounds when I started priming because I had lost weight prior to that, but way too fast and in not a good way. So I did put some weight back on, but that left. And 3.5 years in, my body is still changing and contouring. So
Yes,
trust the process.
That's right. That's right. All the best, Michelle. And if you want to join us, the link is on the screen and also down below in the description. We can't wait to meet you if you do. Okay, Maniwa, hi. Are you guys going to do this every year? As in like meetups? The answer is yes. Or is she asking about something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meetup.
Meetups are happening every year and hopefully more than just once a year. We are definitely working on it, but we did really want to make this first debut in Montana, July 4th, the best one that we can possibly make it. So I think this is not the one to miss because it is that debut event. It's also linked below, so we can't wait to see you. Deborah, my friend says not to do carnivore for more than 2 years because poop will stick to the inside of your colon. Is this true? Well, I have to have Dr. Phil answer this. Sorry.
Only if I can quit laughing long enough. Wow, there's nothing like carnivore to get your bowel healthy. And most of us go like once a week, and it's so easy. I remember let's get gross for a minute, but I used to have these huge diameter dry stools. And when I went carnivore, my stools are less frequent. They're small in diameter. They come out so easy, never have to strain. I mean, it's such a pleasure. It's unbelievable that you don't spend all the time in the bathroom. So don't believe the stuff about your stool. That's crap.
Crap, I love it.
Yeah.
You've been waiting all night to do this.
Yeah.
Body actually absorbs the meat very well.
Yeah.
So that's the process. Is the meat absorbs, so there's not that much waste that you need to go. So that's why you don't go as much.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I explain to people too when they say, well, but you need fiber. And I'm like, no, guess what? You don't. And what you
Really
eat in
don't.
carnivore, everything is utilized. So you have very little waste.
Yeah, exactly. So Phil, did you have any extra thoughts on this question or that was good?
Well, what are you going to do? Go back to trying to eat cellulose, plant fibers, which don't digest, which cause inflammation in your bowel and leaky gut and all that other problem? I mean, why would you want to do that? You get yourself healed up in carnivore and you begin to have what we call food freedom. You don't think about food all the time, and you think about what you're going to do for the rest of your life, and you live life, and you don't get caught up in crazy stuff that people are telling you.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Let's go around the room and share how frequently we poop in a single week. I love this topic. And then everyone watching, please share in the comments. Let us know in the live chat and the comments. So I poop once a week. How about you?
Actually, I still have a BM almost every day. Yes.
That's really
I know
cool.
I'm just magical, aren't I? And sometimes every other day.
Interesting.
It's an age thing. No. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Maybe once or twice a week, but I have noticed that I've had to go back to eating some rendered fat because they were not as smooth as they should be. So when I get like that, I do a lot of salt water and warm water, and I do rendered fat. So that kind of helps things out. But yeah, a couple times a week.
Love it. Raymond?
That's same once or twice a week. So yeah.
Phil?
Well, I already said I go about once a week, and it's great.
Sometimes I have to stop and think when I went last.
I know.
Yeah,
I know
for sure. I'm sure there have been weeks where it's once every 2 weeks and I
Yeah.
just didn't think about
It
it.
just doesn't matter. It's like it doesn't register at
It's
all.
not
you know?
even
It's
a
like,
priority.
It's not even a thing.
Exactly.
You're not running around feeling like you have to go
Right.
unless you really have to go.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You know, when people say they're constipated, it's like, well, are you really constipated, or is it just that there's
Less
nothing
waste.
there? And
Yeah.
then when they stop and think about it, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, but I was used to going every day.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. And Todd.
Oh, once or twice a week. What I think is crazy, because I've had this talk so many times now because people comment this so much.
Yeah.
But what I think is crazy is how, but how we think it's normal to go to Taco Bell or White Castle, and it's so synonymous with that you're going to get diarrhea and have to be within a bathroom within 1 hour. That is actually not alarming to people, but the idea that you could eat something that's so, so nourishing to your body that your body utilizes it and you only have to go once or twice a week, that's weird to them. But because they're not going to eat at Taco Bell and then have an explosive diarrhea in about 45 minutes, that's insane. It's like you're poisoning yourself, and it's so obvious, but we get so twisted in our thinking that somehow is healthy, and it's just absolutely insane to me. But yeah, it keeps coming up.
It does.
can I just say that I've always wondered before, having 3 sons and a husband and 2 brothers, why is it men go twice a day, 3 times a day? It's like, you guys eat, you have to go. And I never understood that. So this to me seems far more natural.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, I mean, just even thinking hunting wise, back in the day, I'm a hunter, and I know, I've hunted a little. I'm not a huge hunter, but I've hunted and have been around a bunch of hunters. And if you were pooping in the woods 3 times a day, you wouldn't kill anything. You run everything off for 100 miles.
Right.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts to think
I feel like that one too.
Yes.
Oh, love it.
Oh, okay. Is that it for poop talk?
I think so, unless somebody asks more, but we will keep going. Hi, Delilah. Welcome. Can you please explain the time frame of eating one of your long meals? And can you break down the chewing time? Also, is it normal to bloat when eating fatty meat? Why or why not? So explain the time frame of eating one of your long meals. Well, for me, it typically takes anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to finish my meal. I eat pretty fast. I don't intentionally chew 15 times every time I put a bite of food in my mouth. I just eat naturally the way that I want. How about you, Melanie? How long does it take?
Same. Yeah,
20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
faster.
Raymond? Yeah.
Well, I am at that pace also, but I also like to use like an hour window where like at the end, if I feel like, I could have a little bit more. So I do a top off at the end.
Yeah. And then Laura?
Pretty much the same. 20 to 30 minutes to finish a meal. I try to take my time and enjoy it. But I will also, 20 minutes later, if I'm not feeling full, I might go back and get something else too.
Perfect. Can you break down chewing time? What does that mean, Todd?
Just some people want to chew a bunch more and really break it down before you swallow it, or some people are like me, and as long as it's smaller than a golf ball, I'm swallowing
Yeah,
it.
same. Like I barely chew and I swallow.
One or two chews.
Yeah.
Yep.
And is it normal to bloat when eating fatty meat? Why or why not? It all depends on what you're healing, right? It's so easy to just blame, oh my gosh, I'm carnivore and I'm suddenly bloating, and assume carnivore doesn't work for you and your gut. When people go carnivore, typically we are healing a lot of things. Our bodies are adapting. Things are changing. The gut is slowly healing. Phil, did you have any thoughts?
Well, the other thing is it depends on how fat adapted you are for your digestive system. If you've been eating a low-fat diet for a long period of time, you've turned off some of the cholecystokinin, and you're making less bile acids and less secreting less lipase from your pancreas, and you've lost some of your capacity to actually metabolize everything that you're trying to digest and absorb the nutrients. So I think your point about healing the gut is one of the great benefits of carnivore, but we adapt at different time periods based on where we're starting from. So we have to, some of us need to ease into it more. I had no problem with it, but I see a lot of people that have adaptation issues when they first start because they try to do it too fast, too big, too fatty, at the start.
Yeah, totally. Let's keep going. All right, Leanne, welcome. How do you know when you should stop priming? I'll quickly answer. You know when you stop having sugar cravings, you have zero desire to want to eat junk food and sugar. How did you know, Melanie?
The sugar cravings for sure. But I just knew that my body just couldn't handle that much meat anymore. And so when we switched to the 2 MADs immediately for like 3 days, I was perfect. And then I just knew that I was okay. And then when I went back, I didn't have any sugar cravings and ate lots of butter and pork rinds. That was my favorite.
Perfect. Oh, Raymond, go ahead. I'll hold it for you.
Okay, so just real quick on that. If you feel like you're enjoying the 3 meals, and literally like I love eating these 3 meals comfortably stuff, you're not ready.
Oh.
Now, if you start saying, this is difficult, this is work, I hate Raymond, then you're ready.
You're ready. Yeah. You're ready.
Yep,
That's right.
that's true.
Because I did say that.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
remember you
I did
messaged
say.
me saying,
Yeah,
"I hate
I
Raymond."
did say that. Yes, I did.
How about you?
For me, it was again. I was like, oh no, I should be done. And even though I felt like I still could have had 3 meals plus those snacks, I decided I should be just following the calendar, and I stopped. And that's when I found out I had to return to priming a little bit. So I actually needed to continue a little bit longer than the calendar.
And Todd, you primed for quite a bit longer than usual. How did you know?
Yeah, 6.5 months I primed, and it was, for me, it was like a switch, and I mean, the calendars are done very well. So when I kept trying to fast, I realized I was white knuckling it and filling my metabolism tank. But the one true thing that I think I got most out of priming was I realized that in 40 years I didn't have a high functioning metabolism ever, which, looking back on it, was kind of like, well, no kidding, that's how you get to 600 pounds when you're 14, probably not having one of those. But when I felt what a high functioning metabolism felt like after priming, when I would try to stop priming and go just test some of the fasting, I could watch my metabolism tank, and it would put me back into that low metabolism area. And so I did that for about 6.5 months. And then, like a switch, it just turned on. It's really hard to explain, but all of a sudden you just knew that you didn't want to eat. And you go into fasting, and the metabolism stayed up. And I was able to fast for the first time, nourished with a high metabolism. And that's when the weight just fell off,
Yep. That's awesome. Love it. Let's keep going. Sarah, welcome. I've become severely hypothyroid and hypoglycemic eating strict high-fat carnivore. I've also developed Cushing's. Any tips? Are we sure that happened because of strict high-fat? Yeah.
Yeah. I have to question this because it's, something's going on with your body if you've developed adrenal dysfunction, thyroid dysfunction. The hypoglycemia, none of this makes sense. This is not typically what we see with carnivores. So I would question, Sarah, what else is going on with you? And is this something that you have been developing over time and just didn't know that you had it? I will state, though, about the hypoglycemia. When you first get fat adapted, your blood sugars can go incredibly low, but they're usually asymptomatic. I mean, when I first went ketogenic, my blood sugar would go down in the 50s, but it would feel totally fine. If I hadn't been measuring it for a couple days, I wouldn't even have known it happened. So that does happen, but this is not the typical pattern we see. And I hope that you're seeing a doctor and getting your adrenal gland worked up, because I'd be suspicious that you may have a syndrome such as MEN, which is multiple endocrine neoplasia, which is dysfunction of your endocrine system. And you really need to be diagnostically worked up for that to make sure you don't have that. It's called MEN, all caps.
MEN.
I'd
Okay.
also recommend
MEN.
a functional medicine doctor.
Functional medicine doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, because it could be a lot of hormones, especially with the hypothyroid and the hypoglycemic.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Perfect. Thank you both. Let's keep going. All right. So, Kat, welcome. What are your favorite carnivore desserts? Ooh, I don't really need dessert anymore. I make them for my husband. So, my personal dessert is kefir, and that tastes very good to me. It feels like a dessert. How about you?
I really don't do desserts
Yeah.
either. So at the most, I might have extra heavy whipping cream in my coffee, and that to me is a dessert.
Perfect.
Okay. Well,
I'm
I'm gonna tell myself. Well, actually, I'm gonna do a little plug. Power Fit Foods, Honey Bear Bar. They make a vanilla bean espresso now. They just came out with a cinnamon. They're to die for. Now they do have organic honey in it, so you have to be careful with the honey, but it doesn't really bother me too much. So I'll eat, I might have one a day or something. It doesn't bother my sugar cravings, but I do make a really good oopsie cake.
Oh, yeah.
And I add a little bit of vanilla collagen to that just to give it a little bit of, sweetness, but I don't really need it. So I just love that. And like I said, I don't eat sweets. So it's maybe once a year that I might have an oopsie cake, but that's about it.
Love it. Raymond?
Yeah, for me, it's I don't know about dessert. It's like a side dish. I have yogurt, and
Yeah,
I really
yogurt,
enjoy
yeah, for
that.
sure.
It's really good.
Totally. Todd, you must have ideas.
Yeah, man, I don't. Smoked prime ribs seared on coals
There you
There you
go.
and with a horseradish sour cream sauce is my dessert that tastes better than anything.
Heck yeah.
Literally.
Heck yeah.
Phil?
Well, I have to admit that I'm not a dessert eater, but every once in a while I like to have Bella's pancakes. As
Oh,
for
yeah,
breakfast.
those are
Okay.
so good. I've
I'm
made
not
those.
Thank
tried
you.
that.
And if you haven't tried those, I just put big slabs of butter on every pancake,
Oh,
and it is just
Dang.
so good. And they're nice and fluffy, and just like standard pancakes, and
thank
really
you.
a nice treat.
Yay. We will link that in the live chat if possible. Let's keep going.
You guys are going to convince me to try these one of these days. I'm
Yeah.
telling
Oh
you.
my God, they're so good. Oh,
This
they're
is
so
what it's like.
delicious.
It's pretty good.
And they're guilt-free. They really are.
They are.
Oh,
They
awesome.
they absolutely are. Welcome, Tim. So how do you start? I heard cold fat, but how to get actually started with a carnivore diet and then to how to avoid that cold keto flu. So at the beginning of this live stream, we each shared our biggest mistake when first going carnivore, but how to best start a carnivore diet if you have no idea. Just eat the meat that you like. Like, just keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Don't feel like you have to do Lion's diet. That's really for people healing a lot of things like autoimmune diseases. I would eat all of the different cuts of meat. I would lean on dairy. I would eat that raw cheese, the raw yogurt if you like that. Have the seafood and just meal prep, because you can easily get tired of the meals and you can easily forget to cook and eat. And the moment you get hungry and you didn't plan or cook something, right, you fall off track and you start going back to Burger King or whatever is convenient. So I would say that's the easiest way to start. How to avoid the keto flu. Phil, any thoughts there?
Well, I think just slow and progressive. I actually was keto for 2 weeks before I made the switch over to carnivore, and I had no adaptation issue. And I think sometimes some of us just need to ease in a little slower and do the priming a little more gently with smaller meals and take your time to do it. And
Yes.
I think that's a good trick for you if you're worried about it.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, and I would say that we're missing the most important part. I truly believe this, because if I had it to do over again, I would absolutely have joined a community first, because that was
Oh.
I would have saved me. I'm not even joking. It would have saved me over probably 9 to 12 months of falling on my head for a while there and slow and beating up my metabolism. And also, it would have probably saved me, no joke, $1,500 in supplements that I'd bought when I was first starting carnivore for all the stuff that I thought I needed to supplement with, and just junk. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I was headstrong about dudes don't need, drum circle community, whatever. Right? And then especially not one with a pink banner on it. and I was wrong. It's obviously, it makes so much sense just being around people that have done it for years and went through all the headaches. I mean, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I would say where you start is in SBG. So
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks for that, Todd.
absolutely.
I'll put up the banner. So sbgmeetup.com. I also want to shout out thanks to this community and just online community of these carnivores. Let's see if I can drag my screen. Okay. Because of community, I was able to be besties with Laura. I was able to be besties with Melanie. I was able to work with closely and be besties with Raymond. And I am totally besties with Todd, right? I love Todd so much. He makes me laugh harder than anyone. I have yet to meet Phil in person, but I love Phil so much. It's just, you meet the most incredible human beings, and these friendships and relationships that you build, you get to have for life. And they are your rock. They are your support system. And it starts with online communities, because how else can you meet carnivores in the wild? You just can't. We're not that popular just yet, but we will get there. So we can't wait to meet you in the gang. And if you do want to meet a community in person, let's put up the Montana site one more time. SBG.events. It's happening in less than 60 days now, guys. And it is in Montana, weekend of July 4th. This is special because you can celebrate July 4th with lots of barbecue, with your favorite carnivores, and with fireworks. See you there. All
Absolutely.
right. Next question. Welcome, CM. How do you handle all that fat when you start carnivore? Who here started super high fat carnivore, though? Raise your hand.
Totally.
Okay, so how did you, Melanie?
You know what? I really didn't have that much difficulty with it. It really took my cravings away, and I would literally go over to the butter dish, cut off the butter, or get it out of the freezer and just eat it like you do. But I used the butter to get rid of my cravings. I would have butter and Redmond salt,
Yeah.
or like a pork rind, and that
It
just
works.
yeah, it was great. I ate a lot of butter. I probably need to eat more butter now, even, but I ate a lot of butter in the beginning.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love butter.
Yep.
All right, I have fond memories of the first time watching Bella with her sticks of butter, gnawing on them, and I'm thinking, and I've always enjoyed butter. I never had a problem with it. As a matter of fact, when I was 2, my mother said for about a year the only thing I would eat was cold butter
Wow.
chunks and hot dogs that had not been cooked. So I think I was meant to be a carnivore all along. But because we hadn't been doing that for how many years, 40, 50 years, I remember the first time I went and got the butter stick out of the refrigerator in the wrapper and thought, all right, I'm going to be like Bella. And I thought, okay, this is not bad, but I really didn't start high fat. I was still eating leaner cuts, and that probably lasted maybe a month and a half into the 90-day priming. And then I finally began to switch over to a more high fat version. And my body was craving that. So I knew that eating chicken was no longer an option. If I had fish, I had to have a 6-ounce steak to go with my fish. So it was a natural progression. My body was calling out for that. So
I love it. Love it. And I love that Laura didn't necessarily start off.
I lost you. I can't hear you, Bella.
Thank you. I accidentally muted us. So we're good, right? Okay. Yeah. So a lot of the women here that I meet in these meat stock conventions, carnivore meetups, carnivore conventions. So when I get to meet these high fat carnivore women, they come to me and they're like, I started eating more butter because I saw you eat a whole stick of butter on camera. And every time I watch you, you're eating sticks of butter. And I'm happy to do that, because if I can eat 2 sticks of butter every day, right? And then after that, 1 stick of butter every day. And now I still eat about half a stick of butter every day for the past 6 years. And I have not died. I have not had any health issues. I brought back my period. I lost weight. My skin healed. My hair grows back. I have amazing sleep. Then you can add 1 tablespoon extra a day and you will be fine. You might actually thrive, right? So I'm happy to be the spokesperson of a butter diet, no problem. But I just want to say, women especially, you guys should really look into this high fat carnivore diet. I recommend Dr. Elizabeth Bright. I recommend coming to our Friday night lives every week. We openly discuss it. And I recommend just looking into all of the women who really approach carnivore long term. We typically end up being a very high fat carnivore. It's just the best way to sustain it. Okay. Thank you for the question. All right, let's keep going. Lady Rouge, welcome. I started carnivore April 1st. Yep. And from a ketovore diet, my blood sugar has skyrocketed. I primed for 3 weeks and I gained weight. So why won't my blood sugar come back down? Consistently, they are in the 100s. Phil, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so it's not uncommon when you first start carnivore to have your blood sugars go up a little. I don't know what skyrocketed is for you. We recently had someone that was diabetic who their blood sugars went up to 250 temporarily for about 2 weeks, and now and almost immediately came back down to average of around 93. And it's amazing because as you're going through this adaptation, you begin changes the way your liver is processing glycogen. Your glucagon levels are changing, your insulin levels are changing, and you go through this adaptation thing. It's kind of normal for many people, and it will settle down. So what I usually, if your blood sugars in the fasting range are around 100, I really wouldn't worry about that. That will improve over the next few weeks. There was a recent study that showed that typically that will resolve in 8 weeks. So it's unlikely to cause you any long-term problems. It's just because you've got some healing to do in the interaction between your glucagon and your insulin, which are 2 hormones that regulate your blood sugar and the way that you deal with excess sugar in your blood.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. Next up, we've got Lonnie. Welcome. How should I use beef suet? Cook with it or eat it cold like butter? Actually, let me just get something in front of me. Like, speaking of this is one of my favorite fat snacks as a carnivore. If you want to do high fat carnivore, this is great because it tastes really good. You don't get that like nastiness. For a lot of people, eating raw beef fat grosses them out. This is freeze dried, but yet it's still raw. So you get that amazing stearic acid, you get the amazing nutrients and healing benefits of raw fat. Yeah. And it's from Grassland Nutrition. I've linked it down below in the description box if you want to check it out. I really love it. And I eat it whenever I don't have meals and I'm traveling and I'm busy. I need something to give me some energy. I'll be eating that. What else can you do with beef suet, Todd?
Oh man, beef suet. I didn't hear all of what you said because I was having audio problems, but I came back in. But yeah, I like to fry it in the air fryer. I like to I actually like it raw. That's one of my favorite ways to eat it is just raw. But then also it's really good to mix in like with your tallow, or like if you're gonna make like pemmican or something like that. It's pretty tasty in pemmican, you know.
Totally. And if you render it, you can use it as lotion and a face cream. It's really good skincare as well. All right, Lee, welcome. I've been carnivore almost a year and I'm good on everything, but good job. I've been suffering from constipation. So who here suffered from constipation?
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah. Okay. So Todd, what did you do?
I just upped the fat. I was eating way too lean. Yep.
That's literally the best way. So up the fat, Lee. And then if that doesn't do the trick, which it should, up the salt.
Warm salt water.
Warm salt
Or
water.
do the rendered fat.
Oh yeah. Or drink rendered fat. Like drink it like it's water.
Yeah.
You'll have loose stools very soon. Very quickly. Jade, welcome. I'm 11 days carnivore. Congrats.
Nice.
Newbie carnivore here. I started seed pre and probiotic a little over a month ago to help with bloating. should I stop using it? Who here uses pre or probiotics?
Hang on.
Yeah,
Let me
go
talk
ahead,
about that.
Raymond.
So I think there's been a big trend with Dr. William Davis about making this yogurt. Well, he also says with kimchi or kefir, but using L-reuteri and these prebiotics, probiotics. So remember, even though fiber doesn't go well for us, but those strains and bacteria will eat all of that by the time you're eating it. You're hardly getting any of that. So I don't think that's a concern at all. We eat the bacteria eats our that, but it doesn't need to be in our colon. So the way I see it, I don't eat any prebiotics, but I do eat the probiotics from the yogurt.
Okay, cool. And the doctor's name is, can you repeat?
William Davis.
William
And he
Davis.
writes the Super Gut, and also he was the one with the Wheat Belly. Yeah.
Wheat Belly. Okay, so check him out. Phil, any thoughts on this?
I think there's no problem using this as a bridge as your starting carnivore, but I think you'll find your bloating will go away as your gut gets better in carnivore, and you won't need to be taking anything extra.
Perfect. Agreed. Lori says, I'm going to be in Bozeman July 3rd. Can anyone? Yay. Lori, I'm guessing she knows about our meetup, right?
I think so.
Okay, good. Can anyone meet up then? Carnivore 8 months today. Todd, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be there. So, like I live there. So
Yeah, we might be there early, so let us know.
yeah, just follow us on, follow Bella's Instagram or mine.
Yeah.
And just DM us, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Todd, you're going to save me a ticket, right?
for sure I will. They are going quick now that we're
Oh, yeah.
Save me a
Button-
ticket.
Don't
for
worry.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the entire
Yeah.
team, we
I'll
will,
be here on
of
the
course,
3rd.
save you guys a ticket for sure.
Okay.
The tickets are going quick. And since we're going to wrap up soon, let's put it up one more time for anyone who came in late. So if you guys want to hang out with Dr. Baker and Dr. Chafee, it's hard to get them together in the same spot, but they will both be coming. In fact, Dr. Baker is here in Tennessee. He just flew in today, and he literally told my husband that he's driving in an RV and bringing his entire family and all his dogs, Todd. It's going to be so fun.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a family get together with the Carnivore fam. So you're all invited, sbg.events.
That's
Okay. Let's keep going.
All right.
All right. Hi, Briar Rose. Good to see you. Almost 4 years carnivore. Wow. That's amazing.
Woohoo.
I just got the best labs of my life. Congrats. Near perfect lipids, perfect thyroid, optimal iron, ferritin, B12, robust folate, etc. Just perfect labs. Round of applause to Briar Rose.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So good.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you for
Awesome.
sharing that.
Share.
Lots of hope there. Okay, we did this one. Okay, Cisse, perfect. Okay, this is a good question. Priming sounds good. Great. Now, how about fasting, Raymond? Anything you want
Well,
to share?
How about fasting? So what I like about fasting, it's carnivore gives you that gift, first of all, right? You carnivore, right? You're going to want to fast, whether it's 2 meals a day, whether it's one meal a day, or, for us carnivores, we can even do alternate day fasting, eating once every other day. And that's an incredible feeling to be able to do that. Now, what about fasting? How do you know it's good for you or right for you? The best part is you just go through the calendars and see what your body will allow you to do. That's the best part about nourish fasting. You don't have to force your body into anything. If it doesn't want to do it, you eat. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like we're doing this as a religious reason, unless you want to, and that's okay too. But we like it where you do a nourish fast, where you just get all of those benefits and your body's begging for fasting. And then you're going to get all of that benefit from fasting, which you've read about, autophagy, the stem cells, the human growth hormones, all those extras. And it's just a wonderful addition with the carnivore diet.
Yeah. And
Do you do any fasting?
I do. And I'd like to share a little bit just because when I was working with Raymond, we were going through really strict fasting protocol. And what was interesting interesting about carnivore is it really taught me to listen to my body, because I started to develop kind of like an anxiety. My body just didn't feel good. And so Raymond said, okay, let's just back off and let's just cut the fast and we'll get you back on to 2 meals a day. So that worked for me. So now I just do a automatic fasting. So if I eat 1 or 2 meals a day, I'll eat maybe my first meal at 11 or noon, and then maybe I eat another meal at 7, but then I won't eat again the next day till like 2 or 3. So I'd kind of do an automatic fasting now, and I find that works better for my hormones, and I'm never white knuckling. And if I need to fast, I will, but I haven't really found that I needed to, and I'm still able to keep my body the weight and the condition that I'm in.
Love that. That's super helpful. Laura, do you fast?
I do. And I have to say that when I first joined SBG and they were talking about the fasting part of the protocol, my thought was, nah, ain't happening. I had never been able to even go 8 hours without eating. And so I really wasn't interested in that part of it. It was more getting rid of the cravings for me. But as the 30 days went on, and then I joined for the next month and was doing the next calendar, and then decided, well, I've got to do the whole 90 days. I found that I was able to, because I was so well nourished, I was able to fast, and be it the 48, be it you've basically finished the 90-day with a 72-hour fast. And I kept thinking, there's no way I'm going to make that, but I'm going to try it. And I did, and it was not difficult. But even more so, 2 years later, and now 3.5 years later, I just intuitively, I may wake up one day and just, I wake up and say, you know what, I'm not hungry, I'm not eating. And I have had those fasts easily roll into the longest one I've ever done is 109 hours.
Wow.
And it was effortless. It was just, I wasn't hungry. I felt great. I didn't have to think about it. There was no noise in my head. I wasn't white knuckling. And so I do that every so often. It's just like, okay, well, today's going to be a fast and we'll see how long it goes. I don't plan it, but I'm usually anywhere from 60 to 80 hours on average.
Wow.
And it's effortless, as I said, truly.
As it should. As it should. That's so
When
good.
you're fat adapted, it's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. Todd, did you want to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, before I did priming, before I came to SBG, I did 7.5 months of OMAD. So I was doing intermittent fasting about 23 hours out of the day. And that completely wrecked my already wrecked metabolism. But after completing priming and healing my metabolism, I did 12 7-day fasts last summer with no issues. I did about 8 84-hour fasts, which are 3.5 days, and I did a few 5 and 6 day fasts as well. So I ended up fasting about 1/3 of that year. I didn't eat at all, and my metabolism stayed intact until the very last one. I lowered my metabolism a little bit, and that was my signal to stop. But from going from that, I mean, it was such a staunch difference to see what you could do when you're nourished. You know, it was crazy, and the amount of autophagy. I wasn't doing that to lose weight either. I was doing that to heal my lymphatic system, because I had a bunch of lymphatic impacted tissue on my legs that got rid of 90% of it just in that run. So it's pretty incredible what primed fasting can do.
And Phil, would love to hear your experience and thoughts with fasting.
Well, it's interesting because I do a lot of intermittent fasting, but I really like every 3 months to do a 72-hour fast. It's just a good reset for me. And I don't think I need to do more than that. Sometimes I feel like I could, but Raymond has seen some people crash and burn from pushing too hard. So I usually listen to Raymond. Everyone loves Raymond except when they're done priming.
Yeah.
When you're priming, okay.
Yes.
Except for when you're
That's right.
Except when you're properly primed. And then when you're properly primed, you don't love Raymond.
Yes. Great
I was
thoughts.
screaming at him.
You're screaming at him.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Lillian, any tips for getting off stevia and sweeteners?
Lots of butter, priming.
Priming.
Yeah, butter really helped me get off stevia. It's just, you kind of have to go cold turkey because there's really no other way. But I'm telling you, I survived on butter and pork rinds anytime I was having a craving, I went to the refrigerator, got the butter and the pork rinds, and I was good. But you just have to stick with it. Lots of fat, ribeye, eggs, just eat something. Even if you're trying to stay on if you're an OMAD or 2MAD, but even if you're having a craving, have that food anyways in between, because that's what your body's telling you need to get rid of that craving. And salt.
And salt, yeah. Any other tips?
Definitely priming.
Yeah, priming for sure. Yeah.
Lots of priming.
Melanie said it, lots of fat, butter, even if it means just taking a bite out of a cold stick of butter every single time you have that urge or have that sugar craving or that desire to want to eat something with stevia, just have the butter, replace it with fat. How about you?
I used bacon. I had bacon ready, and there were times, and I know this sounds a little excessive, but I would make a butter bacon sandwich. I would take little squares of bacon and put a cut of butter in the middle, make another bacon, and those, I'm telling you, you will not be craving sweets at all. So that's a 2-to-1. Because bacon is a 1-to-1 ratio of fat to protein, and you put that little bit of butter in the middle, you got a 2-to-1, and it takes care of that craving and the saltiness of the bacon, the natural saltiness, and of the butter too. It takes care of it. It's gone, so you won't. But you really, as Melanie said, you just got to go cold turkey on the stevia. You allow any of that in, it's just going to continue to work on that center of your brain that likes that addiction. It's the same one that cocaine reacts to. So you are giving yourself another form of a drug, and you just have to get rid of it and replace it with something else.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully tonight's Friday night live stream gave you some inspiration and encouragement to just keep going, maybe to up the fat, maybe to join a community. But this is the end of our time today. Again, we do these every single Friday night. So come back next week and we will see you then. All of our exciting events, conferences, conventions, whatever that we show up to as a team are always going to be linked down below in the description box. I'm getting tired, guys. So let's wrap up. So much socializing at Meatstock, and I'm going to say goodbye and good night. Thank you all so much. Love you all.
Yeah.
See you guys next